Hi everybody, I'm Brock with Ever Ready Athletics. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a discussion rather on why we should exercise and not how. But we're going to talk about actually how we can make this guy, if you don't know what it is, it's brain in here, make that work better and perform better. So it's my beautiful picture. I spent like 30 seconds drawing it, so I hope you don't mind that it doesn't look good. But just quickly run down: brain, brainstem, cerebellum, hippocampus. Took some extra time on that one. So, this is the limbic brain. Limbic brain is the emotional part of your brain associated with emotional pain and also memory as well. So, we're going to talk about the limbic brain, something called the locus ceruleus, and then the hippocampus. So, and this is all going to correlate into our discussion on stress. So, there's two kinds of stress. We have chronic stress and eustress. So, eustress is good stress, chronic stress is bad. And stress is carried out in your body by a hormone that's called cortisol. Now, too much cortisol will kill you, and if you don't have it, you'll die. So, wonderful thing. We got to learn how to actually manage this a little bit better. So, in proper circumstance, we have appropriate stimulation of the limbic brain, and it's going to send a signal down here to the locus ceruleus. And the locus ceruleus secretes something called norepinephrine, which is just a neurotransmitter, often called adrenaline. It's probably not being used in this case like you think it would be. But anyway, so it sends up a signal into the brain and it binds to something called an alpha-2 receptor. And the alpha-2 receptor is what it should be binding to, okay? So once it goes up there and attaches to this guy, a little positive there, it makes something called glutamate, which then comes to the hippocampus and it makes the hippocampus smile, because then you make a memory. So this is appropriate. And this is in an acute stress. Something happens, a brief moment, you make a positive memory. Now we go chronic stress. We have a never-ending stimulus here. Woo! Just too much. So bombarded, it can't even hold it all. So then we make tons of norepinephrine, and it comes up here. And what happens when we have too much of it? Well, first you start making a lot of glutamate, and then you get burned out. So it's kind of the same principle as when you eat tons and tons of sugar, nonstop all the time, like our diet makes us almost, and you just wear out your pancreas. You stop making insulin, and you become diabetic. Okay, so it's kind of the same idea. So if you're constantly causing glutamate to be released, you get burned out. And in a case like that, we have constant norepinephrine supply, and it does no longer binds to the alpha-2 receptor. You don't really need to know the name, you just need to know that it changes. So then it starts binding to something called alpha-1, and in that case it comes over here to the hippocampus and inhibits memory formation. So it makes it a very sad hippocampus. So in this case we actually have an inability to make memories, which is bad. Now, if you think back to a time in your life where you've been incredibly stressed out, you may also remember that you don't remember anything. I can think back to a time in my life when I was stressed out of my mind for a summer, taking some classes that I won't mention what they were, because I didn't like them very much. But I was very, very stressed out, and I really don't remember much. And in this case, I was so stressed out and out of time that I actually didn't even exercise at all, which I normally do to kind of maintain my mind, keep myself working. So stressed out of my mind, it was a mess. So I don't really remember much. The only thing I remember is I had to run and get away for a couple weekends and actually have really great memories, because I got out, I moved around, and I had fun, and I got away from what was causing me all this stress. So finally went away for a couple of weekends, but that was it. The whole summer was garbage, and I really don't remember anything that happened because of this. So when you have that constant stimulation of the emotional part of your brain, you also get mental breaks and stuff. We just don't want that. And today we have so much chronic stress, and you may say, hey, we just have so much harder lives than before. It's not necessarily that the stressors are more complicated or harder to deal with today. It's just the fact that we never get away from them. They're on our phones, they're in front of our faces all the time, and we move less. So we don't have anything to help us cope with those stresses either. So it's a non-stop stress, and we have no coping mechanisms. Not everybody, but it's rough. So what can exercise do for us? So exercise is a stressor. It is an acute stress, one that goes away because you can't exercise 24/7. You just you just can't do it. So it comes and it goes, and as you train, you create things that cause, that have a potential to cause damage in your body. And while doing that, because it's a natural thing for you to do, you actually also build up the capacity to fight those things so you can cope with the stresses that you induced in yourself better and better. And as you do progressive overload, like you would do effectively in, like, say, an Everyday Athletics program, you become better and better at coping with those stresses that you cause in your training. And in such a case, you can make positive memories. And your brain can actually function better, and you can make more memories than you would have before. Otherwise, so you can do better in school, and you can do better at work and everything else like that. So that's pretty cool. So let's start training, and train to have some fun. Try out with Everyday Athletics. Doesn't really matter what you do, I guess, but come train with me, and you can train for a specific sport, and you can have some fun and really enjoy things. And then we can stop this constant influx of cortisol, which also starts to break that sucker down if you don't get rid of it. So let's make our brains work better and let's start training and have some fun.